So I just woke up and we're gonna read today at 5 a.m. Welcome to my mini library, and today we're going to read Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. I've been wanting to read this for a very long time, so I've been putting it off, and we're finally gonna read this today. It's 5:17. We're starting! Anna Karenina, vengeance is mine. I will repay. We're starting chapter 1. All happy families resemble one another. Each unhappy family is unhappy in its own way. So I finished chapter 1. It's 5:27 a.m. We are introduced to Stephen Arkadievich Oblonsky or Steva. Ito na naman tayo sa mga Russian names. Only like 3 pages in. So we're continuing because I really don't have any context pa. So we're starting chapter 2. Just finished chapter 3. It's 5:36 a.m. Oblonsky is fighting with his wife kasi apparently he cheated or he's having an affair with a governess. Since magkagalit nga sila, ayaw na ng asawa niya na mag-iisang bahay sila or whatever to live with him daw. His sister, Anna Arkadyevna, is coming. I think she's Anna Karenina. We're starting chapter 3. So far, I really like the writing. Dali niyang sundan. The reason why I'm speaking English kasi may mga nagsabi sa akin na as much as possible gusto nilang panoodin yung 5 a.m. reading vlogs ko in English. So, shit. Sorry na kung pangit ang shot. I just finished chapter 3 and before we go to chapter 4, 5:45 na, I just want to talk about yung isang line dito na sabi ni Oblonsky, he took his hat and paused to consider whether he had forgotten anything. He found he had forgotten nothing but what he wanted to forget, his wife. I did not expect that at all kasi he hates his wife. We're starting chapter 4. Also, the chapters are pretty short, like 3 to 4 pages lang. 32 chapters yata yung part 1, so short chapters but ang daming chapters. Just finished chapter 4. Nagkaroon na ng confrontation si Oblonsky saka si Dolly. So, one of the saddest part about this is yung babae, yung someone na napagchitan, sila yung magsasuffer. Like, in a sense, kasi parang inana ng lalaki na mag-reconcile daw sila kasi it's also for the children's sake. Para bang ganun lang kadali. Sometimes it's better to not be together than be in a household that's unhealthy. Again, this is like very old time. She keeps saying daw na she would leave him but felt that this was impossible because she could not get out of the habit of regarding him as her husband and of loving him. Tapos parang di ba nagko-confrontation sila about sabi ng lalaki na for heaven's sake, think of the children, they have done nothing, blah blah blah. Dapat ikaw yung nag-isip niyan, dapat as a guy, why couldn't you think of the children before you cheated, diba? Maybe I can do like 3 chapters per update. I just finished chapters 5 to 9. Actually, dapat I'm gonna finish all the way through chapter 10 pero I realized parang masyado atang mahaba yung chapter 10 kasi I have a lot of thoughts so far. Chapter 5, parang nagkaroon tayo ng background story kay Oblonsky sa work niya and how He's very, not powerful, pero lots of connections. Introduced to a character named Levin. Chapter 6, we have like a background from Levin. And I find him very interesting. Na in love siya sa whole Sharabatsky family. It's mostly like him romanticizing that family. But after spending some time, after a few years, ata na in love na siya kay Kitty. So he's planning to propose. Pero parang feel niya yung type of man na mamamahal daw kay Kitty, someone handsome and remarkable, ganyan. Tapos sa chapter 7, meron tayong philosophical idea na discuss, which is yung about the external world is the outcome of impressions. And then there is an argument naman na your conception of existence results from the collective effect of all your sensations and is therefore a result of sensations. Parang sinabi yata ni Levin, senses ko are destroyed. If my body dies, no further existence is possible. Question mark. Blah, 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 blah. Pumunta na siya sa zoological gardens. So, kasi dun daw sila Kitty. And mayroon akong favorite line ito, which is sabi niya, she was the smile that brightened everything around. Oh, biglang dumating si Oblinsky. Tapos parang sumama na lang siya kay Oblinsky, which is a shame kasi he's kind of confused sa reaction ni Kitty kasi parang nagkakaroon siya ng semi-advances or flirting, I guess. But Kitty doesn't seem to like it, like his advances. So parang he's overthinking na parang baka mamaya hindi na niya gusto, kaya chu. That's about it. Doon nag-end yung chapter. So we're starting chapter 10 with the dogs barking them so much. It's 6:44. We're officially on page 50. Ayan, katapos ko lang. Sakto kasi it is the end of the chapter 11 and start of chapter 12. I'm actually quite hungry. As in, gumunan yung stomach ko. So I think I'm gonna eat some skyflakes. Parang nagugustuhan ko na si Leo Tolstoy or yung Anna Karenina to be exact. Kasi chapter 10 and 11, parang nagkaroon ng restaurant talk si Oblinsky and Levin. And actually, very interesting dito kasi I love when a book does like two perspectives, like two POVs na interacting with each other, parang hindi lang like super one-sided. So, Oblinsky is very, parang siguro pinapakita sa atin ni Tolstoy yung sa chapter 10, yung introduction kung paano ba yung opposites nila. Kasi si Oblinsky order ng mga oysters, yung mga lavish. And he even says like, well, of course, the aim of civilization is to enable us to get the enjoyment out of everything. So, it says a lot about his character and probably why he cheated. Kasi now naman sa chapter 11, he kind of asks Levin about like his views. Ano daw pag nagkaroon ka ng, meron ka ng woman in your life, but there comes like another woman na parang, alam mo yun, may something new or some shit like that. There was also discussion about Ski telling him na have confidence kasi parang sinabi ng wife ko na sure daw sila magkakatuluyan ni Kitty. Pero meron siyang rival na sobrang pogi, sobrang yaman, and then syempre si Levin, yung confidence niya bumababigla. That's it for the chapter 10 and 11. I'm gonna eat. So, I finished a few chapters. I'm on chapter 16. Kaya ako natatawa ko sa last part ng chapter. Parang it reminds me of like my dad ng content. Yung nangyari sa kanila between Vronsky and Wonsky. Nangyari, nagkaroon ng dinner sa bahay nila. They invited Levin and Wonsky, which is yung isang suitor ni Kitty. Then si Levin, pumunta siya sa mas maaga kasi nga nag-propose siya kay Kitty, but he was rejected by Kitty kasi Kitty likes Wonsky. And dun sa dinner, nagkaroon lang ng discussion about spiritualism si Levin sa kasi sila. And then, dumating yung tatay ni Kitty, and then he gives more affection kay Levin more than Wonsky. Parang si Levin, hinaghag niya, pero si Wonsky hindi niya pinansin, parang ganyan. So, parang si Kitty nag-overthink. And then, after dinner, we were like, given the context kung ba't ayaw niya kay Wonsky kasi kahit na mayaman siya, pogi siya, pero sabi niya na nainis siya sa asawa niya kasi sabi niya na sa ginagawa mong matchmaking na to, baka hindi maging masaya yung daughter natin. He sees like the true intentions of a man, and then si Levin the super pure no intentions, where Wonsky looks like ano yun, pastime, ganyan. Saka, their man-made machine to chuchu. So, parang siguro sinasabi niya, in a sense na si Vronsky, parang, he's kind of made to look like, alam mo yun, parang, makata, ganyan. Parang nangyari daw kay Dolly, which is, ang funny ko, tatawa lang ako. Sobrang confident nung nanay ni Kitty na happy ending na kasi nga wala na si Eleven, but then she kind of overthinks because of her husband's word. 7:43. I think I'm gonna read again around 8:30 kasi I'm just gonna edit some video and probably like check on work if I have work now. It's 8:53 and we are gonna continue reading Anna Karenina. Chapter 24. I actually plan to read up until like chapter 25 because it is the 100th page. But I think I'm gonna have a breakfast like background to Vronsky, which is he was never intended to marry Kitty because he was never a family man daw. Si Levin, he never knew like what a family life was like, the same as Vronsky, pero dalawa yung naging outcome. Si Levin, he wanted the same family as Kitty, so he wanted to marry into that family because he liked having that family, that kind of feeling. Totoo nga yung prediction ng tatay ni Kitty na Vronsky never really wanted to marry, and he says to himself na parang he can never see himself getting married or being a family man. Anna Karenina na. She also had a talk with Dolly. This is mga interesting topics that I've noticed is yung burden of forgiveness. And parang bang kasalanan mo kapag hindi ka nag-forgive sa husband mo because parang ikaw na yung mag-ruin ng family life nyo. After this, sa train station, nagkakita si Vronsky, si Anna, yung nanay ni Vronsky, saka si Oblinsky kasi nga sinundo nila. And then they see like someone jumping into train tracks. And then parang may mysterious like attraction si Anna saka si Vronsky. Bigla parang may tension. And it kinda intensifies sa ball kasi bumunta sila ng ball together with Kitty. Invite sila ni Kitty. Parang nakita niya yung expression ni Vronsky that she never saw like amusement, like bewilderment, ganyan kay Anna. And then Anna is also like the same. So, very interesting kasi I like Leo Tolstoy's writing in a sense na parang ito yung hinahanap ko minsan sa yung parang gunong tension sa characters na hindi ma-explain, ganyan. I feel so bad. Pero, the tension is real. Like, love it. Kaso nga lang, ang weird kasi nga, syempre, married woman siya na, pero like, gumagawa talaga ng paraan ng fate. Parang kasi nangyari. Wait, saan ba yung last update ko? Nakalimutan ko, pero, departure na ni Anna, and she actually knows na Kitty is kind of jealous of their interactions sa ball. Tapos kaya napaaga din yung alis niya kasi parang medyo naanata siya na awkward and ganyan. She was on the train na. So, the train stopped bigla kasi sa snowstorm yata, ganyan. Meron na siyang inner turmoil na nararamdaman. So, feel niyang guilty siya or shameful siya kahit wala naman nangyari sa kanila na anything ni Vronsky. But, paglabas niya ng train, sabi, when another man wearing a military overcoat came close between her and the wavering light of the lamp, she turned around and instantly recognized Vronsky. Hindi ko naman nakikinig. Parang parang, ewan ko, like the drama, like, nagbo-boil up kasi yung tension ng dalawa, so I love it. There was no need for her to ask him why he was there. She knew as well as he had told her that he was there in order to be there, to be where she was. Kasi naman, tingnan niyo yung mga sinasabi. Ano ba yan? Nakakainis naman. I just finished part 1. Finished all 34 chapters. Ayan. So, we're starting part 2. I love the first part. Love Leo Tolstoy's writing. I also love na parang, ewan ko sa akin na, parang may inner discussion lang ako sa utak ko na parang silently, we want to see how their relationship or their affair will progress. Kasi definitely may magkakaroon ng something kasi matatapos na ng libro kung wala, di ba? Sa perspective nun sa babae na pinag-cheatan siya ni Oblonsky kay Dolly. So, para sa atin, di ba, parang cheating is never justified kasi yung kay Oblonsky, di ba, parang justify niya na parang hindi siya makapag-timpi sa passions niya. And paano kung may biglang dumating na love na, alam mo yun, na parang so new, so like talagang love niya comparison to the wife na talaga niya napakasalan niya. Now that it's happening to our beloved main character kasi both of them are charming, both of them are attracted to each other. So, ito na yung question na ma-justify ba yung cheating kasi from the perspective of hindi nila mapigilan yung feeling nila sa isa't isa, especially to Anna kasi convinces herself with like the life that she have like after niyang umuwi, diba, dun sa Petersburg, parang unang-una nakita yung husband niya. Tapos parang yung feeling niya disappointment. Tapos parang bigla niya napansin yung mga ayaw niya sa husband niya. Tapos nung nakita niya yung anak niya, parang na-feel lang niya. Hindi niya bakit na-feel siyang disappointed sa reality na parang gano'n. Parang, in a sense, parang siguro naisip niya na parang, ba't kasi may anak pa ko or asawa pa ako, hindi sana nakapag-pursue na ako kay Volinsky. Ano pa? Ang hirap naman kasi ng Vronsky. Hirap ng mga pangalan nila. Lahat nakikita niya na mali sa buhay niya na yun. So, siguro kasi hindi niya makuha yung talagang gusto niya, which is si Vronsky. So, yan. And Vronsky doesn't even care about the husband. It's an interesting part 1. Let's go buy our lunch. It's 1:55 p.m. And we're going back to our reading. Nagana ako, kumain ako ng lunch. I'm eating this. Mag-update ako chapter 10. Pero, gabi naman yung confrontation sa chapter 7 naman so much. But, this is just so far pa lang. Mali ang infidelity. No cheating. What do you want of me? You don't want that. Nakakainis si Vronsky. Nakakainis kasi yung factor na alam mong gusto na to si Anna kasi hindi naman siya yung definition ng I can fix him na bad boy na parang yung una yung mga bad boy na gatong type wala namang pakialam sa mga babae. Sabay Ayaw mali ito. Dapat hindi ginawang married woman eh. About myself separately, you and I are one to be. Nakakainis. Command me to disappear and I will do it. You shall not see me if my presence is painful to you. Sabi ni Anna, I don't want to drive you away. Holy shit. Ala ka. Naiinis ako. Bakit kailangan kasal si Anna? Nakakainis. This could have been like the best like love story. Alam mo yun, ito yung hinahanap ko na classic na romance. Yung talagang yearning talaga, hindi yung putang inang si Mr. Darcy. Hindi yung hayop naman na Mr. Darcy. Ito pabebe naman so much. Tignan na to Listen to me. Kasi parang pauwi na si Anna. So parang hinatid niya yata. You know, it is not friendship that I want. Only one happiness is possible for me in life. The word you so dislike, yes, love. Parang sabi ni Anna na, it means too much for me, far more than you can understand. She gave him her hand, and with her quick elastic step, went past the hall porter and vanished into the carriage. Sabi dito, her glance and a touch of her hand burnt him. He kissed the palm of his hand where she had touched it and went home happy in the knowledge that in this one evening, he had made more progress toward his aim than he had during the previous 2 months. Natatawa kasi na, ayoko mo kiligin kasi nga, married woman, this is like cheating. So, this is exactly probably what Leo Tolstoy wanted you to know or feel na parang yung sasabi niya sa unang part ng novel niya sa Oblonsky na parang, what if meron kang makakama-cross ka ng love na you've never experienced before? Etc. Ganyan. So, parang, ano ba yan? Parang, I'm falling into his trap! I am ending on chapter 8 first because meron lang ako a bit of work. Kailangan lang ayusin ng a little bit. Pero, That would only take me a few minutes. Leo Tolstoy. Ang galing niya. This is actually my first book of him na parang binasa ko yata. I believe. Yeah. So, totoo naman so much. Hello! I'm back. It's 3:38. Although hindi pa naman super like tapos tayo sa work. We're kind of done. I think I'm gonna continue my reading kasi na-excite na ako kung anong mangyayari sa mga following chapters. Starting at 3:40. Let's go. Can I just say, Leo Tolstoy's writing, grabe. As in, grabe to. Like, tuwang-tuwa ko kasi this is exactly what I wanted in a book. Like, yung, alam mo yung sobrang complex na character, pero at the same time, nakikita mo naman nagtatry sila. Pero, in the given circumstances, wala talaga magawa. Alam mo yun, kasi minsan yung mga miscommunication, etc., naiinis ako kasi hindi pa nga tinatry ng character kausapin. Pinapangunahan niya na hindi niya ako makaintindihan, blah, blah, blah. But Karenin, kasi, syempre, nakikita na ng mga people around them na si Anna and then si Vronsky, yung sobrang, alam mo yung open secret na yung flirtations ng dalawa. He didn't find it like offensive or wala siya nakita kasi he thinks that jealousy is like an insult to your wife kasi that means you don't trust her. So it's like, oh damn, like sobrang lalim pala ni Karenin. Like, akala ko he's just like a stupid, dumb civil servant na alam mo yung parang that's like prioritizes yung sinasabi ng iba, but it's actually more complex than that. Lang siya din na-disturb dun sa open flirtations nila Anna sa ni Brodsky because the people around him actually notices, and I cannot blame him for that kasi if he himself doesn't really believe na mayroong nakaya ng asawa niya, pero yung syempre yung mga people around him, parang he sees it as an obligation to warn his wife kitang napag-uusapan ng ibang tao, but this is what I feel like you should be doing, like this is your responsibility na as a wife. He warned Anna as clear as a day na kung ano yung ibig sabihin niya. But Anna, coming from a point of view na sobrang head over heels na sa affair niya ni Vronsky. At the same time, di din naman kasi siya sure sa sarili niya kung talaga bang mali yung ginagawa niya kasi wala pa naman silang ginagawa ni Vronsky. Emotional cheating, kumbaga ganyan. Pero at the same time, hindi pa niya naman sobrang ina-acknowledge si Vronsky na parang mahal kita. Pero, di ba, ayaw niyang paalisin. So, that means, syempre, alam mo yun, yung ganun. So, I'm very, very happy with how this is turning out kasi I love Karenin. I love the depth. Si Anna, sobrang sinashutdown na parang, ano ba yan, babaliw ka na ganyan. Alam mo yung ganang gaslight na, wag ka na magtino ka nga dyan, basta matulog na tayo mga ganyan. So, I love it. I love it kasi it's not just straight up gaslighting na walang magawa si Karenin kasi he actually did try. Karenin, strong as he was in his official activities, felt himself powerless here. Oh, wow. Like, kasi you would think that men during that time, di ba, parang sobrang may control sila. But there are this kind of men pala talaga during those time. And you would think na sobrang confident niya kasi as someone na super taas ng rango. So, government pa yata. Oh, I feel so bad. Like, kinikilig ako kanina pero at the same time, parang, wow, okay. Like, what the fuck? Each time he began to think about it, he felt that he must try again, that by kindness, tenderness, and persuasion, there was still a hope of saving her and obliging her to bethink herself. Every day, he prepared himself to have a talk with her. Oh, madadala niya sa matinong usapan or showing her some affection. But, oh, it's so sad. I love it. I love it. I love the writing. Gusto kong ganito yung parang, tinatry naman ng mga characters na they're showing like, tinatry naman nila. Pero, I love it. Super love. So, starting chapter 11. Lit Club! Check out. We're starting again. It's 6:33. Minsan bulal ako, hindi ko alam kung paano siya fix. Parang pwede ba yung speech defect? Like talagang, ewan ko kung nangyayari sa akin. Page 224. I don't know if I mentioned like yung previous chapters. Their affair is open secret to the whole town. Even Voronsky's family knows about it, and then they send him a letter to warn him about it. And it already, whatever, because she's a married woman. Anna is a married woman. Anna tells him that she's pregnant! I knew it, I called it, and ayun naman. Yun pala naman so far. And I'm really, really excited on where this is going kasi since the whole town knows, everybody knows, except Anna's husband apparently. We'll see kung anong reaction nila, and we'll see if they will actually run away together or whatever. Okay, so that ends our part 2 journey in the book kasi we are finally on part 3. Yan. It took us a very long time. 8:02 na agad pala. So, my thoughts. Yung huling update ko, 'di ba, yung parang yung sa sinabi ni Anna kay na jaunties siya, 'di ba? So, after no nagkaroon ng horse race si Vronsky, I don't know what the significance is. Kung bakit horse race or whatever. Maybe that is the time na super, alam mo yun, super talamak ng horse race. I don't know. Nagkaroon ng accident si Vronsky there, and Karenin's perspective, which is one of my favorite characters. One of my favorite characters here. And pag yung chapter niya, tuwan-tuwa ako. One of my favorite chapters is yung na-build na yung resentment niya. Like, he doesn't acknowledge anything. Like, hindi niya na-acknowledge na parang niloloko na siya ng asawa niya harap-harapan. Dami nagsasabi ng mga tao sa kanya. So, pag may nag-i-inquire about his wife, he kind of shoves it off and iniiwasan na niya yung mga tao nagtatanong about kay Anna. So, he thrown himself into work. He just could not fathom na gagawin ng asawa niya yun. So, he kind of justifies it sa kanya. And then there was also one of my favorite parts na he tells himself that before he used to judge people na nag-i-stay pa din sa mga relationships na super pinatagal yung alam naman nila niloloko sila, but then now that the misfortune has fallen on his head, he could not confront it at all. He could not end it. He could not acknowledge it. And after a few moments, umuwi siya. His health was so bad, and then he goes to the horse race with his friend kasi anak sobrang pinapahalata niya na ayaw niyang makasama yung asawa niya. He's so sad. I'm so sad. Like, Anak is so mean. She tries naman to lie, but parang nasusuka na siya. Sobrang nasusuka na siya. Ganyan yung feeling niya. So, they go to the horse race, and it's so sad that si Masusat kasi Karenin looks at Anake while everybody was watching the horse race, and Anake was watching Vronsky. Anake wants to go to the, I guess, yung parang arena ba yun? Kasi nga nagkaroon ng accident. He offers his hand where hindi siya pinapansin Anake like 3 beses. Parang sabi pa nga niya na huli na, I already offered my arm for 3 times. Anna finally tells her husband, Karenin, on the way home that she is in love with Vronsky. Okay, we're officially done with chapter 5, which is yung 302 actually. I need to cut my reading short because something came up, and I think I'm gonna continue tomorrow kasi tomorrow, as in all the time I'm mag-read since I don't really have anything to do. I don't have work anymore. I mean, it's Saturday. So, wala talagang magkakapigil sa atin. 302 na yung natin, last natin pages. We're gonna rest, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hello, good morning. It is a few days after Wednesday na ngayon, December 17, and it's 6:40 a.m. But we're continuing with Anna Karenina. Hindi na ako nagbasa ever this past few days because I've been busy. So, now is the time to continue this kasi I want to finish this, but I'm not gonna finish this today. But we're continuing with where we left off, which is chapter 24 na tayo ngayon. So, part 2. So, sorry, correction. We are chapter 6 na pala. So, part 3. Sabog naman so much. Nakalimutan ko. I'm in page 353. Ayan, hindi tayo magtatapos. Yung update natin. So, chapter 18 na tayo. Farm life lang ni Levin ng konti. Tapos nagkaroon siya ng letter from Oblinsky telling na si Dolly mag-move in na sa province life malapit sa bahay ni Levin. Nag-trust si Dolly yung asawa niya na he would cooperate with the house, with the moving in, kasi parang siya yung intuition ni Dolly to settle everything. But then when they moved in, wala pa si Oblinsky. They found out that butas yung bubong sa children nursery, sa room nila. So they have to move out muna ng ibang room kasi nga pag naulan natulog ganyan. So parang, oh my gosh, wala na nagawang tama to si Oblinsky. Tuwa pa nga siya sa move out nila kasi mas less yung expenses compared to the city life. And I also like the POV from Dolly na yung as a mother, di na mahal ng husband, like what it feels like and what she's going through. Kinausap din ni Dolly si Levin, talking through him. It's not about that. It's about like a girl not having choice. Like imagine like being courted with two people and she doesn't even see you that much, but then you confesses to her and then she was left with no choice but yes or no, which is like a no choice at all. Parang hindi daw as simple as yes or no kasi yung proposal. And totoo naman kasi during those times talaga, like parang yun yung isa sa mga sobrang confused ako sa mga periodic books na nainis ako na sobrang bilis, but at the same time now I realized na with Dolly talking to Levin na okay, oo nga na, wala silang choice. So, as much as naiinis ako na why would they marry someone that they don't even know, it's about them not having that choice at all, because the only way for women to thrive or to live, to survive during those times is to get married. So, okay, thank you to Dolly for giving me that insight. Nagkaroon din ng parang thought si Levin after this, parang should I get married to a peasant girl? Should I do this? Parang quarter life crisis. But he saw Katie again and then he falls in love again. We go to Karenin's POV and then his feelings after the affair. He's trying to be civil so much, but at the same time parang in the depths of his soul he wants to punish Anake. He wants to like sobrang komplikado ng character niya. And then after that, we now go to Anna K's POV. After telling her husband, dapat aalis na siya kasi parang sobrang nag-torment yung mga guilt sa kanya and yung mga thoughts niya. She receives Karenin's letter and then nag-spiral na siya kasi parang inisip niya agad dun sa letter ni Karenin na he's threatening to take away their son. So, 347, sabi ko lang, boohoo, anak K. You're the guilty one. What do you have to complain about? You have the riches, you have the means, you have the resources. Compared to Dolly, na wala talagang resources and hindi pa siya mahal ng asawa niya. Girl, bye. Anyways, I think I'm gonna take a rest for a bit. I can feel the tonsillitis coming. Lagyan ko na ulit bago nagbasa. December 29 na 8:24 a.m. I thought I'd continue Anak K kasi I wanted to be my last read nga this year. Hopefully today, magkaroon tayo ng big progress kasi I am on 353 na page na. So, out of 900! Shit! I'm gonna do a lot of talking. Sasabihin ko lang sa inyo update. Wait, why? Bakit? Why this kind of 8? Wait. Page 424. Ayan. And sobrang... Oh my God, kasi ito na yung moment parang nagkita na ulit si Anna Karenina saka si Vronsky. Kasi pinapunta niya si Vronsky nga sa bahay nila. Tapos nagkakita pa nga si Vronsky saka si Karenina. Like, they bumped into each other. Tapos parang kinakausap ni Anna kay si Vronsky. Parang sabi niya na, kasi ilang weeks na natin siya hindi nakikita. Tapos, parang alam niya lahat ng nangyayari kay Vronsky. Tinanong niya kung ano nangyari sa kanya. Sinabi lang ni Vronsky yung about sa prince, pero biglang sabi ni Anna kay, ba't di mo sinabi sa akin yung isa pong party? Parang may na-meet yatang babae si Vronsky. Tapos, parang nagkakaroon na ng moment dito na sabi, yung si Vronsky, parang naiinis na siya sa like jealousy moments ni Anna Kay. Sabi naman niya sa sarili niya, alam naman niya na she's jealous because she loves him. Tapos sabi niya, sa sarili niya to, inner monologue na parang, ito na yung pinakagusto ko mangyari before na mahalin na niya ako, pero bakit parang hindi masaya daw siya, ganyan. So parang yung about sa unhappiness and happiness din, etong like libro na to, especially this part na parang yung ina-expect niyang happiness, parang sabi niya, I think yung pinaka-peak, it was from the past na totoo kasi pinapakita ang galing ni Leo Tolstoy magsulat kasi pinapakita ni dito na kung paano yung feeling talaga na yung sa isang lalaki na nawala na yung thrill, I guess, yung passion. She was not at all such as he had first seen her, both morally and physically. She had changed for the worse. Ang trash talaga ng mga lalaki. Kaya tawa kasi napapakita niya dito na ganito yung thoughts nila, especially sa mga hindi naman matinong lalaki. It's not like as simple as parang naging haggard na si Anna kay ganyan. Pero like, nagkaroon ng twist, nagkaroon na ng turn of the screw yung pagpamahal ni Vronsky, or yung parang, I guess, yung affection niya kay Anna Kay. Pero hindi pa man natapos sa page na to. I'm gonna look kung ano pa nung mangyayari at the end of the chapter. Pero so far, ito pa naman. Kasi, it's interesting kasi hindi ba niya alam na yung effects ng pagbubuntis sa isang babae, diba? So, it says a lot about men and their ignorance during this time na, be, ano ka ba? Dinadala na yung anak mo. So, ano ba yung problema mo sa buhay mo? Oh my God! Kinikilig ako sa kaki 11. So, page 471 na ako. Yes, nagkaamin na din sila mga motherfuckers sa baby kasi. I'm on page 471. We're nearing 500 page. And ito pala, buti na lang may nagawa namang masaya to si Tolstoy dito sa part na to. Yes. Officially, nasa 500 page na ako. Yes. And it's 11:27. I think I'm gonna stop with reading muna kasi I'm gonna eat brunch. Part 4. Yun na. So, part 5 na tayo. And I was so shocked kasi parang elopement pa nangyari kay Anna Kay and kay Vronsky. Anna Kay didn't accept Karenin's offer, which is mag-divorce na sila. Vronsky also didn't accept his position sa Tashkent. Sabi dito, from his previous self, he would have abandoned everything for his position there kasi ambitious siya nung bata siya. But then, seeing Anna Kay after everything, after his almost life and death situation sa, diba, parang papahamatay siya kasi he shot himself in the chest. After one isa nakita sila kasi tinawag siya ni Anna Kay. And, ayun. Naging passionate na naman sila. Useless siguro yung part na ang daming nangyari. Kasi nga, di ba, parang beforehand, anak na siya, namamatay na siya. Tapos yung Karenin pumunta. Tapos, finargive niya si Anna Kay kasi thinking na Anna Kay will die na. Nagkaroon siya disappointment kasi parang low-key gusto din niya mamatay na si Anna Kay for everything to be solved, I guess. And then Vronsky was also there na umiyak pa nga siya ganyan. And then there was a moment na parang pinagbati niya si Vronsky sa si Karenin. Akala talaga lang lahat mamamatay na si Anna Karenina. But then, what drove Vronsky to kill himself? I mean, hindi siya nag-succeed. And sobrang nag-guilty siya sa kabaitan ni Karenin, which was
also Anna Karenina's dilemma kasi nga parang sobrang generous na to the point. Siguro gusto na lang nila sabihin na parang magalit ka na lang, pwede ba? Like, pwede bang burahin mo na lang kami, saktan mo na lang kami, imbis na yung ganyan kayong parang kang sobrang taas-taas na talagang hindi niya pinapatulan sila anak eh. So, biglang nag-change of tides. Biglang ni-refuse ni Vronsky yung position niya, diba? Tapos basta sila. Yun lang, doon lang natapos kasi after a month daw, nung talk nila ni Vronsky, iniwan ni anak yung anak niya kay Karenin. Yun pala naman. And then, I think we're gonna go back to Levin's POV na ikakasal na siya, diba? I'm back. And I'm on chapter 9. 549 page na ako. Naiinis ako dito kay Vronsky! Actually, sa kanyang dalawa ni Anna. Kasi, bang hindi nila pinili tong affair na to. Na, alam mo yung kinoconvince nila yung sarili nila na parang, this is for the sake of love. This is for the sake of the man and the woman that I love. Kaya ako nagsasacrifice ng mga ganito. Na, like, to be honest, kayo naman may kasalanan, so you have to face the consequence. I can kind of see why this is like a cautionary tale about an affair. Yung pag-move in nila Anna sa isang palazzo something. Modest, sabi kay Vronsky, a modest artist himself who had renounced the world, his connections and ambitions for the sake of the woman he loved. Na, alam mo yung nakakainis, usually pag sa mga affairs, it's always the woman who has the shorter end of the stick. If you guys know what I mean, I'm just saying that it takes two to tango. Once na bored na yung lalaki, wala na silang pupuntahan. Yung babae pa may kasalanan na yung mga lalaki, nagsakripisyo sila ng ambitions nila, ng pangarap nila because of the affair. Na para bang hindi din ginagawa ni Anna yon, na hindi ba niya iniwan yung anak niyan whom she dearly loves. Hindi na sila accepted sa society, wala na silang trabaho, wala na silang pera, like, wala na silang freedom. Ayan yung pinaka-big word, freedom. Just like Levin, bigla siya ng panic kasi mawawala yung freedom niya, napakamamaya si Kitty din, ganyan. Parang, ano ba? Nakakainis tong mga tao. Pwede bang sabihin na lang natin na because pinili niyang mahalin ang someone na married without even having like a stable income na may muffler yan naman, na stable income, bago ka pa makapag-affair sa taong may asawa, at mayroon na din kayong anak, bago kayo magtsuktsakan at magkakaanak kayo, pwede bang magkaroon ko muna ng sariling pera? For the sake of the consequences that you did, na pinili mo naman, hindi ka naman binaril ni Anna Karenina na parang, please, anuhin mo ako, like, panindigan mo to, hindi naman, diba? Like, mo na nga dapat pero pumunta ka pa rin Galit na galit. Okay, another update. I think I have one of my favorite chapters ito sa part 5, which is chapter 13. They meet like a painter named Mikhailov. But in chapter 13, very interesting kasi he commissions him to do a self-portrait on Anna K. Nagulat siya kasi he seemingly captured Anna's like sweetness or beauty, na parang sabi niya na one needed to know and love her as I love her, and to find just that sweetest spiritual expression of hers. Interesting take din ni Tolstoy na kahit sobrang galing, magaling naman si Vronsky, nakakuha niya yung technicalities of the painting of an art, pero you cannot capture the emotion, the soul of some art. Kahit i-imitate mo yung mismong painting to the T, as in yung to the very, very stroke, parang hindi mo maintindihan unless you have the emotions for it. Intindihan mo siya beyond the technicalities of it, which makes you think na, so ano ba, love mo ba talaga si Anna? Kasi as like an artist, di ba, parang if you have a muse, if you have something na to take inspiration from, kahit hindi super perfectly capture yung itsura, like talagang super realistic yung portrait, I think you can capture that essence na nakikita mo talaga sa isang tao, na makes you think na all this time, talaga bang, I don't even want to think about it, kasi Tolstoy convinced us prior to this na sobrang deadass, sobrang in love niya kay Anna K, na sobrang yearning talaga. But then, suddenly, after niya makuha si Anna K, hindi na niya masyadong na-appreciate si Anna K. Nag-attempt na magpakamatay. parang doon lang niya nafe-feel yung essence ni Anna kasi nafe-feel niya na wala na si Anna sa kanya forever since nag-decide na yung asawa niya na hindi ko siya papakawalan. So, doon lang siya nag-spiral na naman na yung passionate ba? Behavioral pattern na siya. He abandons the Italy life. Suddenly, ang pangit na ng Italy. Suddenly, icky, dirty na yung Italy sa kanya. So, he wants to go back to Russia with Anna Kay. Sobrang tunnel vision siya doon. And then, he will abandon everything just for that hyperfixation. Also, I'm reading here. Kaya hindi ko masyado napapakita pero basically, kailangan ko sa table ko nagbabasa. Kasi my neck is hurting from the sofa. Ah! We're back kay Levin's POV. Ito na naman tayo. Ito naman tayo, men with their expectations and hindi ko na alam. Like, ano bang na-expect niyo sa marriage? Parang yata ang ina-expect nila sa marriage yung sobrang pag ano sila, yung wala silang gagawin, talagang masaya lang sila, ganyan. Hello, it's now 5:10 and we're officially on the 65th page na part 6 na yung start ng part 6. So, tapos na tayo sa part 5. We only have a few, not few, pero like, ang dami pa. I have a lot of my thoughts or parang reaction or parang summary in my little notebook. What I usually do is, pag may mga reaction ako or may mga comments ako, I do put the page na lang. Kasi before, I used to put like yung chapter or yung part tapos yung thoughts ko na lang on that part. Pero ang ginawa ko, ever since na ginagawa ko sa libro, yung sa likod ng books, nilalagay ko yung mga notes ko na to. Ito na yung ginawa ko, by page na siya. So far, I'm really still pissed off with Anna Kay and Brodsky. Kasi especially with Anna right now, medyo nainis na ako sa kanya. Kasi pumunta siya sa theater and what did she expect? Walang nangyari. And that is like one characteristic ni Anna Kay na hindi niya matanggap yung pagkakamali niya. She says one thing and then people will do what she wants to do and then she will like blame the person na ba't mo ginawa yun. Basta alam mo yung gano'n, parang very escapism siya. Officially on chapter 13 page 702, so I'm stopping here kasi page 700 na tayo. So the reason why nagano ako kasi I couldn't really care less. Parang, I mean, I'm sure Tolstoy is saying something as all of the authors do. Hindi naman sila naglalagay ng chapters ng unnecessary, di ba? Pero kasi wala naman akong pakialam sa summer hunting, gun hunting ng mga lalaki. Like, for real, like, hindi ko lang talaga magets yun. You can kind of see Levin's like OA ang pagkaselos niya, which kind of pisses me off whenever like, he's very overthinking. Kasi mas okay pa nga sa akin yung POV ng pagsiselos ni Bronsky instead of him. Kasi yung kay Levin parang medyo insufferable yung pagkaselos niya eh. Kasi wala namang ginagawa si Kitty eh. And we even get a POV from Levin's dog, which is si Laska. Okay? I mean, thank you Tolstoy. Uy, nakakaawa naman si Levin sa chapter 13. Wala na tirang ulam sa kanya. Okay, I'll admit, the chapters are kind of dreading me kasi because of Levin's like OA na yung pagkaselos. Saan yung salamin ko? I am in need of a change of scenery kasi sobrang I'm over it. Like, super. Kanina ko pa sinasabi, di ba, na parang ano ba? Wala na akong pakialam sa... I was always looking forward to Levin's POV kasi he was always a refreshing read for me kasi parang kala ko he was not like any other characters here. But then, ano nangyari? Alam mo yung, be, magkakaanak na kayo, ano pang inaano mo dyan? Pinuputok ng budhi mo dyan. I'm on chapter 19, part 6. So, anong nangyari, di ba? Parang andun pa din si Dolly sa estate nila Anna Kay and Bronsky. Sa huling part ng chapter, parang sinasabi niya na things must be lively here because or parang para daw hindi maganap ng news si Alexis. But she's not really pertaining na parang babae. Pero alam mo yun, parang low-key baka kasi maboard si Alexis, which is si Vronsky. Also, it's so sad na parang walang pakialam si Anna kay Annie, which is their daughter. Sobrang ang weird ng character ni Anna Karenina. Like, sobrang emotional niya, but at the same time, she's oblivious sa ginagawa niya sa mga tao sa paligid niya. It's so sad that Dolly is kind of also oblivious sa fact na hindi naman talaga masaya sila, Vronsky and Anna Kay. Maybe that's why they're blowing off on like new house, new wallpaper, and this hospital that Vronsky is building. Kasi ayaw nilang confrontahin from the very first time yung factor na you had an affair. You both knew what you were doing, pero ayaw nyo i-acknowledge na hindi nga maganda yung ginagawa nyo. There's a lot of people who are like that, na parang ang dami nag-cheat kanya. Kunyari, masaya sila. Alam mo yun, oo, mayaman sila. Ang dami nilang ginagas. May bago silang bahay. May mga anak sila. Pero deep inside, yung guilt, and then yung remorse, and then yung parang being shunned from society, hindi siya mabibili ng kahit na anong pera. Alam mo yun, like, period. The grass is not always greener on the other side. So, ayun. Dami ko sinabi. Wait. Nagugutom ako. Update. Super happy ako sa mga nangyayaring characterizations ni Tolstoy sa mga character niya. Nakikipag-usap si Vronsky kay Dolly, tapos parang natatawa pa nga ako nung una si Dolly, parang, ito na. Parang isasabihin niya sa akin na dalhin yung mga pamilya dito, ganyan-ganyan. But then, Vronsky actually surprises Dolly because he asked Dolly if she can influence Anna to write Karenin a letter for her to divorce na si Karenin. Kasi nagkakaroon siya ng anxieties and worries about the future, which is like yung anak nila. By legal, by paper, anak pa din ni Karenin. He was worried na baka in the future na magkakanak pa sila lalo, madami. All Karenins, which is understandable naman. He's trying to be happy with Anna Karenina kasi si Anna nga, pag pinag-uusapan doon nila yung about doon, sinashop away ni Anna. So, we can kind of see Anna's behavioral pattern na ayaw niyang mag-confront na reality. She has this habit of it na parang naiinis siya lalo. Parang the more na confrontahin mo siya, the more na umaalis siya. Which is kind of ironic kasi now, Vronsky is in the place of Karenin, which was yung ganun, yung parang yung consequence ng pagiging lover ni Anna, which is you have to deal with her escapism. Yung last chapter na si Dolly felt like an actress nangyaring visit niya kasi nakikita niya yung mga superficial or pretentious people around her na parang hindi niya na kayang mag-keep up. Na, diba, at first, she was so envious of the life, but then she was kind of like, parang hindi ko pala kaya ng ganito, like, matagalan na magpapanggap na ganito na super kailangan ko i-keep up yung appearances. I don't know why Leo Tolstoy emphasizes Vronsky's balding, yung pagiging panot niya. Some people say it is a sign of maturity daw, I guess, kasi he is kind of owning up a little bit. Ayun pala, which kind of surprised me yung sinabi niya kay Dolly kasi akala ko he's getting tired of Anna, he's gonna be like leaving Anna, ganyan. But then, surprisingly, he has thoughts na yun nga, parang gusto niyang illegal mga anak niya. Also, may mga playful banter na hindi nagustuhan ni Dolly between Anna Kay and Vasilevsky. Basta yung isa na parang nag-flirt din sa sa wife ni Levin. Pero parang Vronsky doesn't seem to care, which is parang sabi ko, parang na tables have turned talaga kasi gano'n na gano'n din si Karen. But then, I think at this point, parang wala naman masyadong desire. Feel ko si Anna Kay kasi, like, imagine hopping from an affair to an affair. Parang medyo weird na siguro. Like, I think the shame would be too shameful, I guess. And then, it's actually surprising na Vronsky is calling all the shots in the house. Parang si Anna Kay medyo passive na naman. Which is parang, yun lang din napansin ko. usually dun sa behavior ni Anna Kay. I'm actually worried once like the curtain falls down kasi yes, Vronsky found new meaning in his life. Nagkaroon siya ng libangan, the hospital, the job, the lavish house, and even Anna Kay is just like busying herself with Vronsky's friends, mga ini-invite lang sa bahay. But then, what happens when the wealth or the fortune of Vronsky dries up, diba? Parang, I wonder how will Anna Kay cope with it. Kasi parang, the way I see it, Anna Kay is very, very, very maarte girl. Very, talagang, alam mo yun, demanding girl. So, I don't know. It's the morning after 7:28. Sabi ko, ba't ba ayaw na lang mag-divorce ni Anna? Doesn't want kids anymore. She tells Dolly na, may sinabi yata siyang permanent, hindi ko lang permanent or like birth control. Kaya niya sabi yun, kaya niya inamin kay Dolly kasi parang sabi niya, she feels like a slave daw. Which is hindi naman talaga yung pinaparating or pinapa-feel ni Vronsky. Feel niya, anytime, pag iniwan siya ni Vronsky, wala na siyang something. Which is totoo naman kasi syempre, kinas out na nga sila ng society because of their affair. So, once Vronsky's over her, or once na parang, alam mo yun, ma-fed up kasi siya kay Anna, wala na siyang something. Ano kayang birth control sinabi niya kay Dolly? Kasi si Dolly na may 6 children, on the brink of poverty na sila, parang ganun. So, I guess that explains like one of like the perceptions before. Wala silang option. Dolly is stuck with 6 children, but at the same time, with the talk with Anna about yung ayaw na nga ni Anna magkaroon ng children. That's why, na-cherish niya yung mga anak nila. Parang hindi niya kayang isipin na wala si Masha. How she appreciates her life more. Kasi ang dilemma pala ni Anna right now is, kaya niya mag-divorce. Kasi gusto niya si Alexis, si Vronsky, saka si Sresna, yung son niya, to combine, like to be together. Hindi possible na pag-union si Son sa si Vronsky kasi one is sacrificing the other. Ang hindi nagmi-mix yung parang purity and then yung affair. Pero kapag pinag-combine sa dalawa, malalaman na ni Son niya yung affair. Yung chapter 28, like ko na this chapter is the same chapter ng Hunt na si dog ni Levin kasi parang Levin daw is surrounded by barking orders, signals encoded strategy. Pero hindi niya maintindihan kasi nga hindi nga siya exposed sa politics. That's why he was trying to expose himself kasi all his life he's known farming lang eh. And he's a very uninformed voter, which is I appreciate Tolstoy for including this. Simula noon hanggang ngayon, ganun pa din pala. May mga uninformed voters pa din na hindi nila alam na parang sumusod na lang sila sa daloy ng mga sa barking of orders ng iba na sige, ito na nga lang. Tapos, in-invite ni Vronsky yung mga upperclassmen, which she feels very triumph and or accomplished about, na parang nakita niya yung, yes, my reputation, na-acknowledge siya naman ako. But then, he receives a letter from Anna that saying na Annie is like terribly ill, and we get to Anna's POV, hindi naman pala ganun. The reason lang niya kasi hindi niya mabantayan si Vronsky. Which is so weird. I think it's just protection. Kasi kaya talaga walang nagsasurvive or walang nagsasurvive sa mga affair. I feel like you already know the person is gullible or parang madali silang makuha because you did! Come on, like the same way that you got him is the same way you lose him. I think I'm gonna start. Baka matapos na natin to kasi we only have, I think, 200 pages. Yan siya. Nag-meet pala si Anna sa kasi Levin. Tapos parang medyo malandi talaga si Anna, no? It's like a game to her. Like, but at the same time, I don't know, anong problema niya sa buhay niya. Kasi itong current to, kaya ako napag-video kasi sobrang insufferable na ni Anna sa akin to the point na ayoko nang basahin. Like, I'm so close. Sobrang close na talaga ako. I'm on page 871. She's so petty. She's so revengeful. She's so spiteful. She's so... sobrang nakakainis na siya basahin kasi sometimes you really have to be careful about what you're reading, ano yung mood mo. Kasi minsan, ako as an emotional sponge, parang ano ko eh, nai-sponge ko talaga yung mga feelings ng characters na of these days. Vronsky will snap, and feel ko iiwan ka na niya talaga. It's not like Vronsky is doing something na ano mo yun, parang wala na nga kasi siyang mapagselosan. Kasi kaya siya nagsiselos daw kasi she's not jealous of any other woman, but she's jealous of Vronsky's diminishing love for her. So she has to resort to something na object or person na pagsiselosan niya para ma-validate yung nararamdaman niya. Girl, the communication, it's not giving naman so much. I understand. I understand. I have empathy. I have empathy. Kina-convince ko na sa sarili ko na I have empathy. I understand she has anxiety, but why is she giving me anxiety now? Ayoko na basahin si Anake. I mean, yung POV ni Anake, sobrang insufferable niya. Like, every single thing na gagawin ni Vronsky turns into an argument kasi she cannot be satisfied. As in, lahat ng conversation ni Vronsky for hours. So I could kind of see why Vronsky always wants to go out. I mean, I support women. And maybe I can kind of understand maybe she has postpartum or something and with all the like madness. Pero like, kung mag-a-affair ka na lang and kung gano'n na din naman yung ginawa niya, nakipag-run away siya with Vronsky, dapat gawin niya lahat para maging right yung decision niya instead of like dwelling on blaming Vronsky and everyone around her for her suffering and even Karenin's generosity to her na parang, alam mo yan, wala siyang accountability as in super. Girl, get up. Ang isang super nag-spiral na si Anake, pumunta siya kay Dolly, but then, tapos sasabihin niya kay Dolly lahat, but then, she kinda like, assumed everything na parang baka matuwa lang si Dolly sa kasikiti sa miserable kong posisyon. Since they're envious of me, they're jealous of me. So she's kind of like very delusional. Maybe it can also be a combination of postpartum. Maybe she kind of went into a spiral mode, especially since wala nga siyang matakbuhan talaga, kundi si Vronsky. So she felt very dependent on him. And then Vronsky, on the other hand, wants to be acknowledged by society so much na napafeel niyang alone si Anna, I guess. But wala naman tama sa kanilang dalawa. Like, they're both miserable people because they cheated on Karenin and then whatever. Sobrang resolved na si Anna na i-expose daw niya si Vronsky. Gusto niyang parusahan si Vronsky because Vronsky could not come with Anna sa bayatan nila kasi parang si Anna gusto na siyang makita, but then Vronsky is like, girl, bye. Okay. I think I have one of my favorite chapters ever, which is chapter 30, kasi this is where Anake actually recognizes her faults and her flaws and her, like, kumbaga yung for what it is, for what she is. Si Recha, yung son niya, I thought I loved him too, and I was touched at my own tenderness for him, yet I live without him and exchange his love for another's. And did not complain of the change as long as the other love satisfied me. That's so fucking true! As in, kung ano na yung pinaka, like, analyzation mismo ng mga, if ever na magiging reader ka nito. Like, ayun na talaga siya. Like, that perfectly sums it up. Hindi sila ni Vronsky. In a way, they mirror each other. That's why they're getting super irritable sila with one another because they are mirroring each other. Vronsky is for society naman, di ba? Yung parang pleasure society, wealth, ganyan. And then, Anake is just like very selfish and very self-absorbed. Parang egoistic siya, ganyan. Yun naman, na hindi na siya satisfy ni Vronsky. She's going into spiral kasi wala na siyang makuha. She's not getting what she wants. Getting the suicidal thoughts na parang feel niya death is inevitable na. So, girl, calm down, please. Oh my gosh! Hala ka! Anak ka, kanina ka! Anong ginagawa mo? Fish! hindi ako makapaniwala talaga. What the hell? Legit ba? No! What the hell? Ala! No! Nakakapikon na. Seryoso ba? Hala? Okay, part 8. Kailangan ko malaman kung ano nangyari after that. Shit ka.
Okay, we're done. We're officially done with Anna Karenina. It was a very, very hard last few chapters kasi it's mostly focusing on Levin's like resolution or paano ba, like yung struggle niya with faith and sa religion kasi diba hindi siya naniniwala kay God or any deity. Diba nga, yung nangyari kay Anna kay unfortunately may nangyari sa kanya na ginawa niya, and then unfortunately then hindi masyadong madami yung chapters about like the aftermath of what she did. We only get a glimpse, but I wanted to see like every single reaction from Oblonsky, Vronsky, nakita naman natin, but like as in yung months of suffering, like two months after suffering, diba? I mean, 2 months after her death. And then, si Dolly, si Kitty, si Lydia, I wanted to see that bitch's face. And then, si Karenin, poor Karenin, kasi, but we know na he took Annie, which is nag-agree naman si Vronsky, but then now he regrets it. Sabi ni nanay ni Vronsky kasi he kind of wants na hindi sana niya give up agad-agad yung anak niya, which is so unfortunate. Like oo nga, but parang hindi man na siya lumaban sa factor na yun na parang dapat hindi na lang niyang hinayaan ko ni Karenin si Annie na para bang hindi yung anak ni Anna yan. Ayun lang. Tapos, wala. Parang, oh yeah, we get a glimpse of Vronsky's misery, but then we know na from his mother, he's also like distracting himself from from another adventure. Saka kay Levin, he does all of these things pero hindi pa din niya makita yung purpose and meaning niya sa life, which he kind of resorts to religion, or parang alam mo yun, bigla lang siya napapapray ganyan chu blah blah blah. And then there was like an instance na yung anak niya like there was an instance pa na yung may lightning or may thunder. Tapos sobrang kinabahan siya kasi akala niya nasa-struck ng lightning yung anak niyang lalaki. And then now he then sees the importance of his son kasi after that incident daw parang he grew fond of him, and then nawala na yung parang pity niya and then yung disappointment niya na parang he was expecting kasi something like a light or like siguro in-expect niya yung ganun sabi palagi ng mata na parang pag nakita mo anak mo parang parang magkakaroon ka talaga ng motivation, ganyan. Siguro he doesn't really have that. I think most men, I don't know kung lahat ng lalaki may experience nun, but like iba kasi pag babae, syempre tayo ng anak, diba? But like with men, there's just some men na parang hindi talaga na ma-feel siguro yung father instinct. Kita ko din yung isa sa mga gusto kong sinabi niya, which hindi siya magiging siya ngayon or yung hindi siya mag-live ng magandang buhay if not for the beliefs that he was raised by. Siguro sa mga parents niya, ganyan, etc. Siguro kung hindi siya napalaki ng may mga beliefs or hindi lang dahil sa religion, pero like, yung siguro yung about sa murder, blah, 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 yung manalaki ka ng kapwa-tao, etc. So like, okay, I kind of like that. Actually, I will debrief muna kasi I've been reading so much for the past 2 days. And I liked it. I absolutely love it. Pero it can be a bit sluggish sometimes. Parang may mga chapters na definitely a lot of filler episodes, which is what I've noticed in Russian literature. Parang those filler episodes are like where they shine the most. They want to shine the most kasi doon nila yung sinasabi lahat ng gusto nilang sabihin about politics during that time, their religion, their beliefs. I think kumbaga yun yung parang totoong gustong parating minsan ng mga author, like more than the plot itself. And I'm very, very happy. And I think you guys can also try reading this kasi to be honest, medyo madali naman yung prose niya. Yung writing niya itself is just very long. As in, super long lang niya. And it can be a bit down sometimes. Parang yung energy ng writing down, like parang slow. Ayan, slow pala, hindi down. So, ayun na naman. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you soon on another book vlog. Bye! Happy 2026!